Hello. The Divine Code reading for March 9th, pages 551 and 552. We are in the chapter Prohibitions relating to being alone with a forbidden partner. And in the next couple of pages, it's going to be discussing different scenarios and under what conditions would it be permitted or under what conditions it would be forbidden. And a lot of these are may or may not make logical sense in whatever society a person is in. These are baseline ideas, and it's a good idea to be more stringent with oneself than it may make sense to be in these areas, just for the purpose of being more cautious in that for oneself. So even if it may seem as if some of these don't make logical sense, it's a good idea to follow them anyway, because a person should always be strict with themselves. Topic number 10. The restriction against seclusion applies when a Gentile man is alone with one or two women, even if the wife is one of them, since his wife might not prevent him from sinning with another woman. Since a Gentile's wife is not assumed to guard him, that's to be jealous towards him or with him. As it is written in Rambam, Laws of Forbidden Sexual Relations, chapter 22, and Shulchan Aruch Even HaEzer, chapter 22. Neither his mother, daughter, or sister are assumed to guard him. See Oritz Hapashkin, page 51, Igrit Moshe Even HaEzer, volume 2 and 15, and volume 4, 65, 8, and Tizitz Eleazar, volume 6, 40 and 14. 40, topic 14. A man may be secluded with 3 women. It is clear from Shulchan Aruch Even HaEzer 22:6, many men with many women, which the Torah authorities say refers to a minimum of 3. How much more so is a man permitted to be secluded with 3 women, since it would be embarrassment from each other. This is also clear from Rima there, section 5, based on Rashi. So if a man is secluded with 2 women, it may not be sufficient embarrassment for the women. But if he's secluded with 3 or more women, then there will be sufficient amount of embarrassment. The women would be embarrassed to act improperly in front of the other women. And again, this depends upon society, and one should always be more strict than they think necessary in this regard. A woman should not be alone with 2 men unless one of them is her husband, because he would prevent her from sinning. Since a man is jealous of his wife and guards her, for Gentiles, the Torah law is that a wife is assumed to be afraid of sinning while together with her husband, but not if he is just elsewhere in the town. Although Even Mikodesh, Even HaEzer 22:3, permits a Jew to be secluded with a Gentile woman while her husband is in the same town, it is possible that this is because a Jew, at least, will be embarrassed and afraid of her husband. A similar distinction is also made by Igrit Moshe Even HaEzer, volume 4, end of 65:8. So the assumption is, regarding men and women, is that a husband will be more jealous towards the wife, will be more jealous for the wife, and will protect the wife. It's not assumed that the wife would be jealous about the husband and protect him. So the wife would not be considered sufficient if she's part of the group, as being a group of 2, that she would she would be jealous for their husband as much as the husband would be jealous concerning the wife, protective over the wife. And also, it's part of it also is that the Jewish people it's not there is more of a jealousy concern. There is more of a jealousy that would protect them. That's because of the fear and the sanctity. Now that would also vary by society as to whether or not the non-Jewish societies take that level of jealousy seriously, and therefore these rules would vary a little bit by society. But again, it's always best to be strict. It is also forbidden for two women to be secluded with two men. Even though the simple translation of the Mishnah Torah, no, I'm sorry, it is also permitted for her to be secluded with three men. Even though the simple translation of the Mishnah Torah is brought in Shulchan Aruch Even Ezer 22:5, it is implied that a Jewish woman may not even be secluded with many men, and there is no number given there. It nevertheless appears that one may rule leniently for a Gentile woman, since the whole prohibition for Gentiles is only a logical one, and one may rely on Rima there, who says it is permitted for a woman to be secluded with two upright men. However, the leniency from Rima should only be used in a time of great need. So there is a difference if we're in a society where the men are more proper and they're not going to try to take advantage. I mean, most society, the men act in a proper way, and they're not going to try to take advantage of situations. There are societies or subcultures where that would be a problem, and it's best to always be on the strict side. Is what continues to be the theme here. That which is written, but when it says it should only be done in time of great need. So because we're being strict, then there's room that if the necessity comes up, there's room to be less strict, because we're already being more strict than we need to be to begin with. Therefore, we can be more lenient if the situation requires it. That which is written in Shulchan Aruch Yeridea, chapter 153, that it is forbidden for a Jewess to be secluded with many Gentile men, even if their wives are with them, is possibly referring to a case in which they are immoral, as explained in Taz and Shak there. Or, as well, it may be a stringency, as explained in the opinion of Shar Yosef, Kita Oriet responds to chapter 1. So it's always within these rules the question of whether the people are immoral or immoral people that we're talking about. All these laws only apply with upright. Where am I at here? It is also forbidden for two women to be secluded with two men. See Shulchan Aruch Even Ezer 22:5 and the opinion of Bach, Rashal, Kilmet, Mekon Kiat, and Beit Shemal there, and in the Shulchan Aruch, and that the Shulchan Aruch forbids it. So it's forbidden for two women to be secluded with two men, unless one of the pairs is married, or a mother and a son, a father, a daughter, a brother, or sister. Based on Tizis Eliezer, Volume 6, 40:15, it appears that the reason is that specifically a brother and sister are embarrassed to sin before each other in any case where a man or woman are not so capable or maturely tending to sin with each other. There is no prohibition of seclusion. So if we're dealing with close family members are there, then people are more moral in front of the close family members. And that's the tendency. And therefore there'll be more leniency in that situation. If one or more of them are elderly or a minor who is not old enough to differentiate an act of relations. So if the two men and two women, if one of the people is very elderly or if one of the persons is child, that would not um, that would be similar to it being a close family member where people would be embarrassed to behave improperly in front of such a person. All of these laws apply only to upright, decent people in a populated area during the day. But at night, or in an unpopulated area, a woman may not be secluded even with three men. Based on, no, I'm sorry, Rimi Evan Ha as Rima Evan Haezer 22:5. So if it's in a public area in the daytime, the rules are more lenient. If it's at nighttime in a secluded area, the rules are more stricter. Or a man with three women, or two women with two men, even if one of the pairs is specifically a married couple, as the person may leave or fall asleep if it is night, and the other pair will be left in a situation of seclusion. Bishkut Teshuva Evan Haezer 22:2. So we always have to think about the possibility of how scenarios may play out, and always err on the side of caution. But a man with four women, or see Rima there, at night, it is permitted for a woman to be secluded with three upright men, which implies that also at night or outside of town, one more is needed. Therefore, also for a Gentile about whom it has been written that he should not be secluded with less than three women, the rule would be that at night he needs one more to be present. But a man with four women, or a woman with four men, or three women or three men may be secluded even at night or in an unpopulated area. That is only in the case that they are not sleeping together in the same room, in which case one should be stringent, even if each one has his or her own bed. See Mishkeret HaShokan 152.8 and Tizit Eleazar, Volume 6, 40:13. So the rules are, if it's a populated or unpopulated area, that makes a difference. If it's daytime or if it's nighttime, it makes a difference. But also they should not be, like in a large cabin, for example, out in the woods. If they're in a large cabin and each person has their own bed, but if in a mixed situation, that really should not, they should not trust themselves in such a situation. And a lot of this has to do with trusting oneself, and we need to be aware of our own limitations as being human. Topic number 11. The restriction against seclusion applies even if there has been a large gathering of men and women, after which a few are left together alone in that place. If the rule in this chapter for permitted seclusion are not met, they are forbidden to remain in the situation and they must leave the secluded area. So that it gets into the question before, that situations change. If they're in a large gathering and then some of the people leave and now they're in a smaller gathering, or they're just just two people, then they should just leave the situation. They should not remain in the situation. Topic number 12. It is permitted for a Gentile man to be secluded by day with two women who dislike each other. This is because each woman is afraid to sin before the other, as she is afraid that the other would not cover up and would not reveal and would reveal licentious act which she witnessed taking place. So if the people don't like each other and they're going to tell on each other because they're they're going to gossip because they don't like each other, then that would create a more solid situation, in which case there is room for leniency. Likewise, it is permitted for a Gentile man to be secluded with two wives of another man, or with a woman and her daughter-in-law, or with a woman and her stepdaughter, for the same reason. So these are all situations where people are not going to permit the other person to be sinning, and therefore it makes it more of a stricter situation, and therefore leniency would be permitted in these situations. It is likewise permitted for a Gentile man to be secluded with a woman and a minor child, a girl or a boy, who already knows the meaning of cohabitation and who would relate to others what transpired, and who would not be drawn into the licentious act, an act for which around that age of 5 or for this is the age of 5 or older. See Encyclopedia Talmudica, volume 23, page 616. This is a licentious act. This is because the adult woman would not sin before a child of that age, because the child would speak to others about what was witnessed. Shulchan Aruch Even Ezer 22:10. So in the case of there being one of the people involved is a child, that child is likely to talk about what happened, and therefore because of that it's a stricter situation, and therefore leniency would be allowed. It appears that if there is an elderly man or woman present who is lucid, see topic 18 below, that'll be in a couple of days reading, that there is no prohibition of seclusion with elderly people. There is no prohibition for a younger man or a woman to be secluded there, since it would be embarrassment to cohabit in front of an elderly person, and they would be afraid that the elderly person would reveal their actions. And the reasoning is written in Responsa of the Ribaz, volume 3, chapter 481. So if there's an elderly person there who is aware of what's going on, it creates an embarrassment for people to misbehave in front of the elderly person. And therefore that creates a stricter situation, in which case leniency would again be allowed. Thank you.